Hello, Outperformers. Hope all is well. Our outperforming movement is about persistence and not stopping until you get what you want, right? It's the only way that we accomplish and that we achieve great things. And I had a story that happened to me this week that I guarantee every single person watching this video will be able to relate to. And it's a sales story, but even if you're not in sales, really speaks to just much larger issues in life. And there's a stat in sales that about 80% of sales will be made after the fourth contact. And it's part of the reason that many salespeople are unsuccessful is because they're unwilling to persist and to do the disciplined follow-up to contact someone enough times to be able to close the majority of deals and sales that they need. So, and usually I will condition myself this way, where if there's a company or an organization that I really want to speak to, I will just say, okay, I need to contact this person at least half a dozen times if I want to be successful and if I want to close this. And then if something ends up panning out earlier than that, well, great. That's like gravy, or that's a blessing if it happens before it. But I condition myself that it's going to take this many times. So I get a referral from somebody I've spoken to previously, to another gentleman that's very high up in a financial services company and is very well connected. And I really want to work with this guy. And I contact him 4 times. And it's not even like I was getting a poor response. Like, it's just like radio silence. Like, it's nothing. And whether you're in sales or not, if you contacted someone 4 times and you heard nothing back, what would you be thinking? Probably the same thing that I was thinking at that point. And I was thinking, person's not interested, like, this isn't going to work out, outperform the norm just isn't for him, he's too busy, it's just all kind of negative things. It's part of the reason that I say we have roughly 50,000 thoughts a day, and sometimes up to 80% of those can be negative. So finally, late last week, I contact him a 5th time, and I'm always trying to provide value in the contacts. He gets back to me with just a quick one-liner, just says, hey, can you meet for coffee 10 a.m. Tuesday morning? I'm like, sure, I'm open, so that's fine. So we sit down at a Caribou Coffee, and of course, I'm still kind of playing this narrative and this story in my head of, what, this guy's not interested. Now I've probably just annoyed him into meeting with me because he knows that I know this, referral, this friend of his. And we sit down in this Caribou Coffee, and the first thing that he says to me is, you know what, I'm so excited to meet with you. I've really wanted to meet with you. I actually heard you speak a couple of months ago. I was sitting in the front row, and I didn't even know it. And he just said, I really apologize for not getting back to you. My executive assistant has been out for about the last month. She was on maternity leave and unfortunately had some complications with the child. And he just said, you know what, I've just been buried with things, and I've just been unable to keep up with my follow-up and with everything else. And he tells me this right away when we sit down, and I'm like, wow, is that a complete 180 from the story and the narrative that I'd constructed in my head about what this person must be thinking by not getting back to me? And I know every single person, again, whether you're in sales or not, has probably had an experience like this. If you're in sales, certainly, where you're really trying to get a meeting, or you're really trying to schedule a call, or you're really just trying to get something done, and it's just not panning out, and you start to construct this thing about, you know what, it's just not going to happen, it's just wasting my time, not a good fit, whatever. But it can happen in any area. I mean, it can easily happen with a health and fitness program, where part of the reason that I let off of persistence is, you know what, you can be doing, because these things happen when there's something that we really want and we're taking the necessary steps to try to make it happen, but we're not yet seeing the result and kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. And we get to a point where you know what, I'm exercising, I'm eating right, I'm doing these things, and I'm not seeing the results. It's not panning out for me. And you start constructing this narrative that well, I must just be wasting my time. I may as well just give up on either this program, or I may as well just give up on this deal, or give up before making the 4th contact or the 5th or the 6th contact. I must just be wasting my time. And the majority of the stories and the narratives that we construct in our head, unfortunately, are not positive when it comes to a lot of these things. So it's also part of the reason that I always say, I think one of the greatest skills we can all have is self-awareness. And at no point did I ever think in the 4 contacts of me trying to reach out, trying to schedule a meeting with this guy who I really want to do business with, did I think, you know what, maybe his executive assistant is just out and he's just buried in all of this follow-up, and that's the reason he's not getting back to me. I never thought about that once. It was always some negative reflection upon me and what I was trying to offer to him, which at the end of the day wasn't even realistic. So certainly have I had times where I've reached out to people and it just hasn't been a good fit? Yeah, it happens all the time. But there have also been probably an equal number of times where I've constructed a story in my own head or a narrative that I think is reality, and in actuality was just kind of my perspective or my lens or something that I created that really was something totally different than the reality of the situation. So I hope that makes sense. Again, it's just really a self-awareness thing. And I think if you look at it like that, and if you say, okay, what's really going on here? And if you construct something like that to think, what are the alternative perspectives or kind of the lens with which I could see exactly what's going on right now and perhaps see it from a positive manner? You'll be a lot better off if you do that. You will persist. That is what our outperforming movement is all about, not giving up. And I guarantee if you do that, you are going to be successful and outperform the norm. So this is Scott Welly, as always, wishing you the best of health, happiness, high performance. Have a great day.